In Kenya, you earn 25 cents per day while you are in prison. Can that money, when you leave prison, can your wife who divorced you go to court and say, this amount of money that you have been serving for 30 years be part of matrimonial property? These are people who are married. The man was arrested. He was convicted. While in prison, the woman filed the divorce. She got the divorce. The man stayed and finished the term. Later, a DNA sample was conducted and Philip was found not to have been the criminal. He went to the Constitutional Court and got compensation. After he got compensation, the divorced wife went to the family division and said whatever he was given as compensation by the High Court, that is matrimonial property. This man suffered alone in prison. This woman divorced her. But now she went to the court and the court awarded her $114,459. Can me being jailed constitute matrimonial property? Can that money be used for maintenance of a child? Welcome to the second version of the Diaspora Jurisprudence. This is a segment that Vivian, Bramwell, and Sarah Sutton created so that we are able to bring to you global decisions that have an impact. They don't only need to be from Kenya. They don't only need to be concerned with the Kenyans. They are issues that affect you, issues for you to understand. This is a decision in the Court of Appeals in the 5th District in Texas, Dallas, the USA. This is a case number 05-13-00210-CV. This is a case involving Stephen Phillips, who appealed, versus Traci Tucker, the appellate. This is the judgment of Justices Fitzgerald, 1, Fillmore, and Evans by Justice Evans. This is in the Court of Appeal, just like the Court of Appeal in Kenya here. It's a very interesting case. What is it? Stephen Phillips and Traci Tucker were married in 1980. 2 years later, Phillips was arrested, convicted, and ultimately incarcerated for certain criminal offenses. The parties divorced in 1992. While Phillips was still in prison. The divorce went through when Phillips was in prison. 15 years later, Phillips was released from prison on parole after spending almost 25 years in prison. The next year, 16 years after the divorce, Phillips was exonerated by DNA testing. Thereafter, he applied for and received compensation through the administrative procedures set forth in the Team Call Act. In February 2010, Tucker sued Phillips for a portion of the compensation he received under the Act, alleging the amount included lost wages related to Phillips' first 9 3/4 years in prison before their divorce. Tucker argued that any recovery for lost wages during the marriage was community or marital property rather than Phillips' separate property. She also asserted she was entitled to divide the lost wages award pursuant to Section 9201 of the Texas Family Code addressing post-decree division of property. After trial before the court, the trial court agreed with Tucker and read a judgment in her favor for $114,459 plus attorney's fees and expenses. Phillips filed this appeal. What is the story going on? These are people who are married. The man was arrested. He was convicted. While in prison, the woman filed the divorce. She got the divorce. The man stayed and finished the term. Later, a DNA sample was conducted and Philip was found not to have been the criminal. He went to the Constitutional Court and got compensation. After he got compensation, the divorced wife went to the family division and said whatever he was given as compensation by the High Court, that is matrimonial property. This man suffered alone in prison. This woman divorced her. But now she went to the court and the court awarded her $114,459. You can imagine. This man was aggrieved. He went to the Court of Appeal. In his sole issue, Phillips asserts that the trial court erred as a matter of law in awarding a portion of his statutory compensation for wrongful incarceration to Tucker. Phillips argues his compensation award under this he challenged, and the judges agreed. So, this is the judge's conclusion. Our conclusion is that Phillips' statutory lump sum compensation does not include an amount for his lost wages. It is also supported by the history of the statute. Before the Tim Coles Act was enacted in 2009, the Wrongful Imprisonment statute allowed an eligible exoneree to choose between the administrative remedy or to pay. Tucker argues that because exonerees must release their right to pursue a federal civil suit, we do not agree with the lady. They moved further to say, indeed the act contains a provision for the recovery of unpaid child support payments that become due during the imprisonment for distribution to the obligee. And in fact, Tucker was paid child support under this provision. Therefore, we do not find any reason as to why she is entitled to this money. What did the judges conclude? Under the Act, no portion of the monetary compensation Phillips received through its administrative procedure is characterized as lost wages. Accordingly, the trial court erred in concluding otherwise. Our resolution of Phillips' first argument makes it unnecessary to address his remaining arguments or Tucker's cross points, asserting the trial court's error in denying her request for prejudgment interest. We reverse the trial court's judgment and render judgment that Tucker take nothing on her claims. And I repeat, we reverse the trial court's judgment and render judgment that Tucker takes nothing on her claims. This is the judgment of a free judge, Court of Appeal judges. What are the issues in summary in this matter, and what are the lessons? 1. Philip and Tucker married each other. Number 2, Philip committed a crime. By the time he was committing a crime, Philip had children. Philip was sentenced. Number 3, as he was serving, after 6 years in prison, the woman saw that Philip will never come out. She filed for divorce, and in America, divorce can proceed while one is in court. Very different from Kenya here, because you cannot be allowed physically to come to court, neither can you come, unless it's a criminal matter, virtually. 4th, after the divorce went through, Philip finished the term. 7th, Philip later, new evidence was discovered that it was by DNA, it was not Philip who committed the offense. He was exonerated. 8, Philip went to the Constitutional Court and challenged that he was maliciously prosecuted and detained. and imprisoned. 10. Philip was awarded compensation. 11. His wife, Tucker, former wife, filed for that the money he was given constitute matrimonial property. And she's entitled. 11. The court, the lower court, agreed with the wife, estranged wife, and allocated her over $114,000. Phillips next aggrieved, went to the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal, Philip argued that this is not matrimonial property. It is me who was jailed. Jailed, it is not an earning. Can me being jailed constitute matrimonial property? The Court of Appeal agreed with him that that does not constitute matrimonial property. Can that money be used for maintenance of a child? That the court agreed that that child still belongs to Philip. What are the lessons in this matter? And how do we contextualize this issue into Kenya? What is matrimonial property? Can that money, when you have been jailed, in Kenya you earn 25 cents per day while you are in prison. Can that money, when you leave prison, can your wife who divorced you go to court and say, this amount of money that you have been serving for 30 years be part of matrimonial property? The courts in America, in Texas, have found that that is not matrimonial property. Can income generated in prison because of wrong detention be part of the property? This story of being in prison, we look at it, what happened with the first episode of Daniel Ngumi. Daniel Ngumi was detained just like Phillips. He was compensated just like Philip. For Daniel Ngumi, he sent that money to his mother. The mother squandered, akamuosha. For Philip, he fought and retained that money. The law, the jurisprudence aspect, the annex. We are looking at how do other countries, how do other jurisprudences deal with different aspects of law. Keep watching as we get this. We thank our crew, Vivian, for having looked at a lot of research. Her eyes are red. I can see her eyes are red because she had to get this authority, and every other site she was looking for, it was not coming until our friend in the US sent her this authority. Keep watching. Asanteni.